So coming to reliability, so this reliability is another important characteristics of a measurement system. So in this measurement of reliability, we are discussing about the fundamental principles of reliability and the reliability of practical systems, failure rate data, ways of improving the reliability. So while we are going to be choosing any measurement system, we have to consider the minimum total lifetime operating cost. So total lifetime operating cost means, so if you take any measurement system, while operating the particular measurement system, it will require some amount of cost. That cost is called as the lifetime operating cost. So that lifetime operating cost should be minimum while choosing any type of measurement system. So how to choose the most appropriate measurement system here? So initially a specification for the required application can be drawn up, such as accuracy, reliability, etc., and compared with the manufacturer's specification of the competing measurement system. So in this case, we will take one example. Suppose if you want to measure the voltage, we have to use the instrument called as the voltmeter. So our requirement of measuring the voltage will be in between the range of 0 to 1000 volts here with an accuracy of plus or minus 1%. So here we will be having the three requirements. First of all, we have to measure the voltage, and the range of this voltage is 0 to 1000 volts with an accuracy of plus or minus 1%. So these are the three requirements. So based upon these three requirements, we are going to be choosing different types of voltmeters. So first of all, we have to compare these requirements with the specifications of the different types of voltmeters. So if our requirements are going to be satisfied with the specifications of any one of the voltmeter, then we are going to be choosing that voltmeter for the measurement of this voltage. So in this way, we are going to be choosing the most appropriate measurement system for the measurement of our physical quantities here. So these are the fundamental principles of reliability. So coming to probability. So while defining the reliability, this probability plays an important role. So the probability can be defined as if a large number of random independent trials are made, then the probability of a particular event occurring is given by the ratio probability is equal to number of occurrences of the event to the total number of trials. So in this case, we will take one example. So if you take a coin, so if you throw the coin towards the upside, then the coin will be either head or trials will be getting where it is falling down. Okay. So in this case, if you are going to be performing the same activity up to 100 times here, so the number of trials are 100. Then if you are going to be getting the head of the particular coin up to 30 times only, then the number of occurrences of the event is 30. Then the probability will be equal to 30 by 100, which is equal to 0.3. So the probability of getting the head of the particular coin will be equal to 0.3. Okay. So similarly, the probability of not getting the trials of the coin will be equal to 0.7, because the number of occurrences of not getting the event is 70 and the total number of trials are 100, which is equal to 0.7. So coming to reliability, so here reliability can be indicated as R of t. So here the R of t means it is the reliability which is a function of time t. That is, the reliability depends upon the time t. So the probability that the element or system will operate to an agreed level of performance for a specified period subject to specified environmental conditions. So it can be defined as the reliability, the probability that the element or system will operate to an agreed level of performance for a specified period subject to specified environmental conditions. It is called as the reliability. So take an example of any product. So for example, if you purchase a fan in a retail market here, so if the purchaser is going to be telling that the reliability of that fan is 1 year, that means we are not going to be getting any repairs or any service of the particular fan for 1 year. So after the completion of 1 year, we may get some repairs. So that is called as a reliability. So the reliability for this product is 1 year. So the probability that the element or system will operate to an agreed level of performance, that is called as the reliability. we are going to be giving this agreed level of performance for a specified period. So here we are going to be calling it as the R of t. That is, the reliability is a function of time t. Okay. So coming to unreliability. So here this unreliability is indicated as f of t. Okay. So here also this unreliability is a function of time t. That is, depends upon time t. So this unreliability can be defined as the probability that the element or system will fail to operate to an agreed level of performance for a specified period subject to specified environmental conditions. So in this case, will fail to operate to an agreed level of performance, that is called as the unreliability. So whereas in the case of a reliability, it is the operation to an agreed level of performance. Okay. That is the basic difference between the reliability and unreliability. So the equipment has either failed or not failed. The sum of reliability and unreliability must be equal to unity. That is, if you take any equipment, R of t plus f of t should be equal to 1. So in the previous example only, that is, if you take a coin and if you raise that coin towards the upside, it will fall either head or tail. So in the first case, we have taken that we are going to be making that coin to fall 100 times. So the total number of trials are 100. So in those 100 trials, we are going to be getting 30 times as head and 70 times as trials. Okay. So then 30 percentage will be called as the R of t and 70 percentage will be called as the f of t. So the sum of this reliability and unreliability will be equal to 100 percentage. So if you convert into fraction part, then we will be getting it, which is equal to 1 here. Okay. So if you take any product, the sum of the reliability and the unreliability will be equal to 1. So initially the reliability will be maximum. So if you use the product for a large number of years or days, the reliability will be gradually decreasing and unreliability will be gradually increasing. So finally, the sum of the reliability and the unreliability should be equal to 1. So these are the practical definitions which we will see while we are going to be performing the measurement of reliability. So while defining the reliability, we are going to be taking two items. One is non-repairable items and repairable items. So for non-repairable items, we can define the measurement of reliability in terms of these. That is mean time to failure. So here the mean time to failure can be defined as it is the ratio of total uptime or total survival time to the number of failures. So what is total uptime? So total uptime can also be called as the total survival time. So in this case, for example, if you take one component like one resistor or one IC, integrated circuit. So if you use this resistor for a large number of days, at any one day, the resistor is going to be damaged. So for example, if the resistor is going to be used for 6 months, so after 6 months, we cannot use the resistor for further applications. Then those 6 months will be called as the uptime or the survival time. Okay. So total uptime or total survival time means it is the time for which we can use that particular component for a prescribed number of days here. So after those days, we cannot use that component or the instrument here. So that is divided by number of failures. So in this case, if you take a large number of components, n number of components, so all those n number of components will be having their own total uptime or survival time. So after that uptime or survival time, we cannot use those components for further usage. So the sum of all those times divided by the number of failures. So in this case, we are going to be taking n number of components. Then the number of failures will be n only. That is, number of failures is equal to n, and total uptime means we have to add all the survival times of all the n number of components. That is t1 plus t2 plus t3 plus etc. up to tn. So that gives the mean time to failure. So we can express this mean time to failure mathematically as 1 by n, summation of I is equal to 1 to n. So that is, we can write it as t1 plus t2 plus t3 plus etc. up to tn by n. So the mean failure rate can be defined as it is the ratio of number of failures to total uptime. So if you compare the mean time to failure and mean failure rate, both are reciprocal to each other. So we can write this mean failure rate as 1 by MTTF, mean time to failure. So these are the definitions which are given for the repairable items here. So the basic difference between the non-repairable items and the repairable items means, so these non-repairable items can be used for only one time. So if any damage is going to be occurred, we have to throw those non-repairable items. So coming to repairable items, we can use these repairable items for a large number of times. So if I are going to be getting any repair in that particular item, we have to make some corrections in that item, and again we can use the same item for the remaining days also. So the best examples for the non-repairable items are the resistors and ICs, integrated circuits. Okay, so all the components which are small components which are used in our laboratories comes under the category of non-repairable items. So in a resistor, if any damage is going to be occurred, we cannot repair that resistor. We have to throw that resistor and we have to use another resistor. So similarly in the ICs also, integrated circuits also. So coming to repairable items, if there is any fault is going to be occurred, we have to rectify that fault and we can make that item to be usable for the remaining days also. So those items are called as the repairable items. So the examples for the repairable items are transducers, recorders, speakers. So these are the some of the items which comes under the category of repairable items. So under repairable items, so we can define the reliability by using these definitions. Okay, coming to mean downtime. So the mean downtime can be defined as it is a ratio of total downtime to number of failures. So this downtime is the opposite to that of the uptime. So uptime is called as the survival time, and coming to downtime, suppose if we take a transducer only like a thermocouple. So we are going to be using the thermocouple for 3 months. So after 3 months there is going to be getting some error or some fault is going to be occurred in the thermocouple. Then what we will do? Then we have to rectify that fault. So for rectifying that fault, if we assume that we require for 1 month. So within 1 month we are going to be rectifying that fault in the thermocouple. So after rectification, that is after 1 month, we can reuse the same thermocouple for the measurement of the temperature for the remaining 3 months. So initially the thermocouple is going to be used for 3 months. So after that we are going to be getting some fault in the thermocouple. For 1 month we require some rectification in that thermocouple. After the completion of 1 month, again we are going to be using the same thermocouple for the remaining 3 months. So in this case, so the total uptime will be equal to 3 months plus 3 months, that is equal to 6 months. So and the total downtime is equal to 1 month. So within that 1 month, the thermocouple is not going to be surviving. So it is in the fault condition. So the time which is going to be required for making the particular instrument or measurement system to repair, that repair time is called as the downtime here. So mean downtime is equal to total downtime by number of failures. So coming to total uptime, so total uptime is the difference between the total survival time minus total downtime here. So in this case, in the previous case, so in the case of a thermocouple, the total test time is 7 months here. So 3 months plus 1 month plus 3 months. So the total test time is 7 months. So within that 7 months, the total downtime is 1 month. So 7 minus 1, that is equal to 6 months. So the total uptime is equal to 6 months here. So here total uptime is equal to NT means total test interval minus total downtime. So the total test interval contains both the uptime and the downtime. So mean time between failures. So it can be defined as it is the ratio of total uptime to number of failures. So here in this case we can write the total uptime as total test interval minus total downtime by number of failures. Okay. So coming to mean failure rate, it is the ratio of number of failures to total uptime. Okay. So here in this case also mean failure rate, that is the number of failures to total uptime. So here it is also the reciprocal of the mean time between failures. So if you compare the repairable items and the non-repairable items, in non-repairable items we are going to be calling it as the mean time to failure. So whereas in repairable items, we are going to be calling it as the mean time between failures. Okay, so both formulas will be the same. So mean time to failure is equal to total uptime by number of failures. Mean time between failures means it's the ratio of total downtime to number of failures. Sorry, total uptime by number of failures. But the total uptime will be different in MTTF and MTBF. Okay, so in MTBF, the total uptime means it is going to be obtained by subtracting the total test interval from the total downtime. That is called as the total uptime here. Okay, so whereas in the non-repairable items, we are going to be getting the total uptime based upon the survival of that particular component. Okay, so coming to availability. So availability means what is the availability of that particular measurement system or the component. So it can be defined as the ratio of the total uptime to the test interval. So total uptime by total uptime plus total downtime. So in the previous example only, we are taking the thermocouple. So in that thermocouple, the total test interval is 7 months. And coming to total uptime, the total uptime is 6 only. Okay, so 6 by 7, that is the availability of the thermocouple for the measurement of temperature. So this availability can also be expressed as mean time between failures by mean time between failures plus mean downtime. Okay. So coming to unavailability means it is the unavailability of the particular system for the measurement of any physical quantity. So in the previous example, so the thermocouple is going to be unavailable for the measurement of temperature for 1 month, and the availability of the thermocouple is 6 months. So this unavailability is equal to total downtime by test interval, that is equal to total downtime by total uptime plus total downtime, which can be expressed as mean downtime by mean time between failures plus mean downtime. So finally we can say that the availability plus unavailability is equal to 1. Okay. So what we had explained in the previous case, if you take a reliability, so that is going to be expressed in the graphical form here. So in this case, we are taking the time on the x-axis and the reliability on the y-axis. As time is going to be increasing, the reliability is going to be gradually decreasing. So this is the case if you take any measurement system or any product. So initially if you purchase any product or measurement system, initially the product or measurement system will be having the high reliability. So as time passes, the reliability will be gradually decreasing. That is, we are going to be getting some repairs or faults in the particular instrument or the measurement system. So as time is going to be very large, so finally we will be getting the large number of faults or repairs in the particular instrument. So as time passes, the reliability of the particular system will be gradually decreasing. So here the area under this curve gives the mean time to failure. Mean time to failure is equal to total area under the graph R of t. So we had seen that both reliability and unreliability are going to be opposite to each other. We are going to be expressing the reliability as R of t and unreliability as f of t. So if you observe here in this graph, so initially when t is equal to 0, that is at initial period. So if you purchase an measurement system at the initial time, the reliability will be maximum, that is 1.0. There is no faults getting on the system. So as time is going to be increasing to some finite value, then the reliability of the particular system will be gradually decreasing, and finally the reliability will become 0 as time is going to be increasing. So in this case, if you take the unreliability, initially there is no fault in the particular measurement system. So the unreliability f of t will be equal to 0. As the time is going to be increasing, the unreliability of the particular system will be gradually increasing. So as time reaches the some finite value, finally the unreliability will becoming 1. Okay. So if you observe both the reliability graph and unreliability graph, both are going to be reciprocal to each other. Okay. So this is the reliability and unreliability with constant failure rate. So coming to instantaneous failure rate. So the corresponding instantaneous failure rate or hazard rate at any time is given by, it's the ratio of failure probability to the change in time interval. So this instantaneous failure rate can also be called as the hazard rate, that is equal to failure probability to the ratio of change in time interval delta t. So here this is a typical form of failure rate function. So in this case, the above figure shows the most general form of an instantaneous failure rate through the lifetime of the any element. So if you purchase any product or measurement system, so the entire lifetime of that particular measurement system or product will be having three time periods here. So that is early failure period, useful life period, wear out failure period here. We are going to be defining all these three periods based upon the instantaneous failure rate and the time t. So coming to early failure period, so this early failure period is going to be occurred because of the items are new design faults, installation errors, operator and maintenance errors. So because of these reasons, we are going to be getting the early failure in the particular product here. So whenever the product is going to be designed in a new way, then we are going to be getting all these early failure periods here. So if you observe this graph, the early failure period is going to be gradually decreasing as time is going to be increasing. So this useful life period, so this is the period by which you are going to be using the product or the instrument for a large number of days. So generally all the products are going to be used within this period only, useful life period. So in this useful life period, we are going to be getting some errors, so which are unpredictable. So in useful life period, we are going to be getting the unpredictable lower level causes. So coming to wear out failure, so these are the failures which are going to be occurred due to the long life components which are going to be wearing out. So if you use the same system for a large number of days, we are going to be getting some wear on the particular components in the system. So because of that, we are going to be getting some failures. So those failures are called as the wear out failures here. Okay. So coming to reliability of systems. So system means it is a combination of large number of components. So we can connect those components in a series manner or in a parallel manner. So coming to series systems, the reliability of the entire system can be equal to the product of the reliability of each component which is going to be used in that system. So in this system, we are going to be using n number of elements. So each element will be having its own reliability like R1, R2, R3, etc. up to Rm. So then the reliability of the entire system is equal to the product of all the reliabilities of all the individual elements like R1, R2, R3, etc. up to Rm. So in this case, we are going to be connecting the output of each element to the input of the other element. It is called as a cascade connection. So the overall failure rate of a series system is the sum of the individual elements or component failures states here. Okay. So if you connect the system in a series way, if any one of the element is going to be damaged, then we cannot use that system for the other usages. So for example, if you take this system only, in this system we will be having the n number of elements. Suppose if the third element is going to be damaged, then we are not going to be getting the input for the fourth element here. Then we should not use this system for the measurement of the other applications. So in this case, this is the major drawback. If any one element is going to be damaged, then we cannot use that system in a proper way for the other usages here. So in order to overcome this drawback, we can connect the elements in a parallel way. So in the parallel connection, if any one element is going to be damaged, then there is no problem. So the remaining elements will be working in a proper way. So in this case, we are going to be using n number of elements here. So in those n number of elements, if all n minus 1 elements are going to be damaged and only one element is going to be working in a proper way, then also we can get the correct output if you apply the input here. That is the basic difference. So in series connection, if any one element is going to be damaged, then we cannot use that system for the further applications. So whereas in the parallel system, if any one element is going to be damaged, then also we can use the particular system for the measurement of the other applications. So the overall system reliability and reliability for the parallel system is equal to the product of F1, F2, F3, etc. up to Fn. So if you compare the series system and the parallel system, in series system we are going to be defining the overall reliability, whereas in the parallel system we are going to be defining the overall unreliability. That is the basic difference. So coming to failure rate data on models, a component is defined as a non-repairable device. That is, when it fails, it is removed and thrown away. Examples are resistors or an integrated circuits. An element, however, is a repairable part of a system, which is usually made up of several components. So examples are the pressure sensors, temperature transmitters and recorders. And coming to failure rate data for both components and elements can be found by direct measurement of the frequency of failure of a number of items of a given type. And coming to design and maintenance of the particular repairable items or the non-repairable items. So the following general principles should be observed for designing any repairable or the non-repairable items. So the principles are element selection, environment, minimum complexity, redundancy and diversity. And coming to the maintenance of any measurement system, so these are the 2 points should be followed: mean downtime or mean repair time and breakdown maintenance. Okay, thank you.